Morning, everyone. How are we all today? I have to say there's only one story in the press today, but it's interesting. And the optics behind it are even more interesting. But we'll get into that as we get through the headlines. But let's have a quick look and see who's in. Morning, Mel. Morning, Julie Brown. Morning, Kirsty Hamilton. Christina Mackey. June Dalrymple. Julie Brown. Jade Armstrong. What's strung together like that? It's hard to make out. Scott Hayes. Graham Eason. Rosie McGregor. The other Davy. City Flyer, good morning. Stephen McNeil. Stephen Nicol. John Baxter. Margaret Hitchens. Jamie Dodger. Keep on trucking, man. Desiree. Stephen Bankier. Alan Arnott up there in the northeast. Fit like the day. Nae bad. Tina up there in Dundee. George Docherty. Peter M's in. Anna Chisholm's in. Right, I think I'll go use all up the way. Down the way we go. We're up our 100 mark. So let's get this broadcast underway. Hi, Kit Hood. Stephen McNeil. Jim Soralpa. Mr. John 52. Reagan awake, good morning, Reagan. Reagan goes live right after me, although I don't know if he's on today. I'll leave a wee message in the comments. If I Scott, I'll put one in the comments if he's there. Right. Andy Truck Davy out the truck and at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it is 6 degrees, overcast, dry at the moment, rain in the forecast. Today's high will be 8 degrees. Okay, now humidity is at 100%. Wind speed is 12 to 22 mile an hour. Sunset will be at 17:08. And the pollen count, Disney count, we're still in the winter. All right, so that's what it's like here in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. If you want to know what the weather's like where you are, look at your own bloody windy. Right, first up this morning, we've got the Scotsman. As I say, there's only one story in the press today. Thank you, Peter. Good start. Thank you very much. So let's get into it. Shall we? First up today, the Scotsman. Lovely jubbly. Sarwar's gamble. Sarwar's gamble. Oh, that's really interesting. He took a gamble. Has it paid off? Will it pay off? 24 hours on, it's not looking like it. But there's more to that than meets the eye. But we'll get that as we go further in, because it's all the one headline today. Now, next up, we'll get the Rancid. We don't put the Rancid up. And the Rancid has, Sarwar calls on PM to quit. Your time is up, Keir. Scots leader says, number 10 blunders risk handing 5th Holyrood term to SNP. There maybe will be some truth in that. But Starmer's unpopularity here in Scotland isn't the biggest factor. The biggest factor here in Scotland is Anas Sarwar himself, who has spent his whole time as the Scottish leader berating and bringing down our public services, telling the people in the public services that the service they provide is shite. What Anas forgot was that those people in the public services are voters. Right, morning all. Here's another 10 for the food banks. Here's the challenge. Who will go and happen first, Sarwar or Starmer, or general election? My money's on Sarwar going first at this point in time, because the cabinet has solidified behind Starmer because of Sarwar's move. But we'll get a wee bit more of that as well. Thanks very much, Jim. Now, let's think of the optics of this, folks. You're a voter here in Scotland. Your intention was to vote Labour. Now, you've got an unpopular leader here in Scotland who's a known liar. You've got an unpopular head of the party in England who's also a known liar. Both on the same day, that'd be interesting. And but the unpopular leader in England is in a much worse position than the unpopular leader here in Scotland because of the Epstein files. The leader here in Scotland calls for him to go. And what does the party in England do? Well, they throw Sarwar and Scottish Labour and the Scottish Labour electorate under a bus. They coalesce behind a dead man walking. Even if he doesn't go right now, the Denton and Granton by-election could be the end of him. The local elections in May could be the end of him. But he will be going soon. But rather than bolster the hopes of strengthening Labour's UK-wide position by throwing their weight behind the Scottish leader, they throw the Scottish leader under a bus, the Scottish electorate under a bus, for a dead man walking. If you're a voter here in Scotland and can't see that, the English counterparts in this party would rather rally behind a dead man walking, a dead English man walking, than strengthen their UK-wide position by bolstering the Scottish leader. That tells you all you need to know about how the party itself feels about voters in Scotland. The contempt it feels for voters in Scotland. But we, in this movement, have been telling yous and the other side for years about that contempt. And this is a bloody good example of that contempt. You see, when you voted in the 37 Labour MPs, Labour would have won the election without them. They don't need any of the Scottish electorate. Not fucking one of them. They don't need any of the Labour MPs that they go for Scotland. Not fucking one of them. The vote is irrelevant. That's the whole point of the call for independence, to eradicate the democratic deficit. The democratic deficit being the fact that Scots, Welsh and Northern Irish voices don't matter in this union. Well, let's move on. Next up we have the fail. The Daily Fail has. Oh, Christ. Number 10 left reeling after Sarwar calls on Starmer to quit. Ministers forced to back Sir Keir after 24 hours of silence, but Scottish Labour chief's demands spark brutal. But Scottish Labour chief's demands spark brutal Labour civil war. Cabinet bounced into giving PM stay of execution. And that's what it is. The Mail's right. It's a stay of execution. The Scottish electorate and the Scottish wing of the party have been thrown under a bus for a dead man walking. For a dead man walking. The optics of it are not good. Right, next up we'll get the National. What does the National tell us? Let's see, they're on the one story this morning. The National tells us gamble gone wrong. Humiliation for Sarwar as his calls for Starmer to step down backfires. Senior Scottish Labour figures brand his move idiocy, immature, incoherent and self-defeating. The last one I'll agree with. I don't like the man, but he did have to put distance between his party here in Scotland, which he claims to be separate, which we know isn't, and the disaster that's going on down that road. The only time Scotland votes count in the last 100 years was in February 1974. You know what? I think you're right. I think you're right. But, as I say, senior Labour figures call it idiocy, immature, incoherent, and self-defeating. No, actually, it was the only thing he could do. In a last move of desperation to try and pick up points in the poll and try and salvage his pitch for First Minister, he had to distance himself from that disaster down the road. Right. Down with a National, up with a Herald. And the Herald claims to have the inside story on why Sarwar did what he did. Inside story, why Sarwar took the nuclear option on Starmer. Well, because he had no choice. None. It was his last pitch to try and get some of the Scottish electorate on side. Sarwar had been made to look stupid repeatedly by Starmer in the last election campaign. The Scottish public hates Starmer that much, he's been asked not to come to Scotland during this campaign. And as I say, Sarwar was right with options. He's tried everything. He's tried browbeating the SNP or the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital for the people just to look at him and say they didn't build the hospital. There are no water techs and there are no ventilation techs. They're politicians. As Jean Freeman, rest her soul, said, her job's not to know about it. Her job's not to detect these things, find these things. Her job's to fix them when they come to light. Because they're politicians. They're no engineers. They're no construction companies. They're politicians. So Sarwar has tried absolutely everything to get ahead in this election, and there was nothing left. Nothing. The Scottish Labour Party are blaming the English Labour Party or the UK Labour Party for their woes in the polls, and there's a lot to that. There is a lot to that. Especially when you think about 2024 and the roaring success they had in the general election. Right, done with this nonsense. After that, we've got the Metro. And according to the Metro, this one cracks me up. I mean, really cracks me up. This one actually makes me angry. Sarwar turns on friend Starmer. My loyalty is country. My first loyalty is country. How could that be true? He's a unionist. They're no loyal to the country. They're loyal to the union. It's in the very name. Unionist. They're loyal to the union. They're not loyal to the country. My first loyalty is to the country. Aye. England. You fucking traitorous wee bastard. Fucking country, my arse. You're a unionist, Sarwar. Your loyalty is to the fucking union. You traitorous wee bastard. Lying little traitor cunt. Traitor cunt, sorry. Pardon my language. That's no word I would normally use. But when it comes to contempt for anybody, my contempt for that man is as deep as it goes. It even goes to the point where I would use such a foul term to describe the lying, slithering snake belly of a piece of human offal is loyalties to the country. The term's unionist, Sarwar. It's a dirty fucking term. Next up, we have The Guardian. I'm not prepared to walk away, embattled Starmer tells MPs. Well, that's true. You won't be walking away. But you will be leaving. That party might have thrown the Scottish electorate under a bus, but they did it for a dead man walking. If you're a Scottish voter, bear that in mind. Right. I think next up's the Lunaragi Express. Let's see what it's got this morning. Well, the Lunaragi Express, believe it or not, actually believes that Sarwar's move will topple Starmer. Final nail in coffin for Starmer as Scottish Labour leader. He urges him to quit. Resign now, PM. Resign now, PM on brink as calls to go mount. Well, we know that headline's not true, because after Sarwar made his call yesterday, the cabinet rallied behind Sir Kid Starmer. So I guess the Lunaragi Express is hoping it topples him. Nah, the Denton and Granton by-election or the elections in May will topple him. At this point in time, Sarwar's just guaranteed he stays where he is for a wee while longer. Well, as I say, it's interesting that the party HQ would rather put a dead man walking before the electorate in Scotland. Let's think about that. Before the electorate in Scotland, they would back a dead man walking rather than strengthen their position UK-wide. Could they make it up? It shows the contempt for Scotland that they have. Right, after the Lunarag, we'll get the Times. Let's get the Times up and see what it's got for us today. Desperate Sarwar calls for Starmer to step aside. And to be fair, that is a balanced headline. Anna Sarwar is desperate. Spent over 80,000 quid on personal ads, promoting himself as First Minister, paid for by the Westminster Party, to be languishing third in the polls behind Reform UK. He's desperate. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely. And there's a picture for you. Future King with Despot. Lovely stuff. And after the Times, the Tory graph, which doesn't seem to be there. I'll go and grab it. Right, let's get Tory graph up. And the Tory graph has Streeting accused of number 10 coup. Apparently, West Streeting may well have been behind, giving Sarwar the courage to demand Keir Starmer goes. Because apparently, behind the scenes, West Streeting has been plotting to bring Starmer down, with briefing against him, which is interesting. No, really. This would be the second time that Streeting's been accused of being behind a plot to get rid of Starmer. Is there any truth to it? Well, Mr. Streeton would tell you no. He would tell you he's a loyalist. Right. What's the scum go for us today? The scum has shocked Anna's bid to topple PM. Sarwar of the Roses. Scottish Labour leader knifes Pal Keir. And quick call. So that's every single rag published in Scotland today. All right, the big rags, they're all in this one story. As I say, but the angle they're not taking is the optics of it and how this looks to the Scottish electorate. If you are a voter here in Scotland and you did intend to vote Labour and you're paying attention, you've just seen your Scottish leader and your Scottish branch office thrown under a bus for a dead man walking. Get in there. Own goals are us. Own goals are us. If the Scottish electorate didn't realise the English party's contempt for them, then they do now. And if the branch offices along that road in Holyrood didn't understand the main party's contempt for them, they do now. Absolutely no influence whatsoever. Stephen, you want a boffin? You're not getting one. I'll just tell you, all the papers are on this one story. Them all. So, as I say, the optics of it. Nobody's covering the optics of it. So I hope me telling you about the optics of it gives you a smile. The branch offices have just been dealt, get it fucking round yous. Your value to us are zero to fuck all. Wonderful stuff. Right, let's see what the stars go for us on it today, shall we? And the stars go it. Scots leader bombshell, get your coat, Keir. Sarwar urges PM to resign. Get your coat. That's not what's happening here, Sarwar. What's happening is you've been thrown under a bus along with your branch office for a dead man walking. Christ, I feel good today. I feel real good today. We've got a dead man walking in Westminster who's not going to last long, who's just kiboshed Sarwar's credibility and showed up absolute contempt for the Scottish Labour branch office. Tuesdays don't get any better than this one. They really don't. But my loyalties to the country, fuck off, you unionist spanner. The term, the clues in the term, unionist. Wow. Aye, Carol. Eyes on the prize. But attaining that prize has just got that wee bit easier. Thanks to a dead man walking and contempt for the Scottish people. Tuesdays just don't get any better than this. They just do not. Oh, Jabba, the next leader. She'll have eyes on the pies. Now. That's been... That's beneath you, Stephen. Come on. Christ, Stephen, that's got me choking. Would you hear, folks? The cold's not cleared up yet. But believe me, when it comes to Tuesdays, This is the best one I've had in years. I'm really enjoying my day to day. Remember, Starmer's handpicked a load of these new MPs, overturning the local branch selection. Starmer is their hero regardless of what he's done. They've got pockets to be filled. Good point, Ange. Good point. As I say, but I'm going to wind it up there, and I'm going to leave you all this morning with a big smile. Because when it comes to Tuesday mornings, the best one I've had in many, many years. Many years. Now, thanks very much for your kind contribution to the Food Bank Fund today. Thanks very much for tuning in absolutely huge numbers. And look, thanks to the moderators for moderating. Look after yourselves. And I'll be back tomorrow morning, where I hope the headlines make me feel so happy again. I doubt it. We'll be back to Scotland shite, SNP bad. But at least today I got a smile. Happy Tuesday, everyone.